But we have a big problem in this country. We
wanted to give you a chance to acknowledge
we have
the
elections
results
that were horrible. If you look at what happened in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, if you look at what happened in Detroit, Michigan, if you look at what happened in Atlanta.
He just shouldn't get ensnared in this.
I
know this is frustrating because it's just 3 years old.
People going to 28 different voting booths to vote. To put in 7
They're baiting him to talk about something that nobody wants to hear.
I have to stop you there because
he'd look better if he just stayed on topic.
Your own election officials testified to that and have said that Republicans in these states
the issue is the structural changes Democrats made that gave them advantages with ground game, universal mail-in voting, nursing homes, ballot harvesting, ballot chasing.
I want to bring
call it rigged. I get it.
From Concord.
Yeah,
he works
but Trump is just not.
Say it and then get off the topic because it's old.
That's what they call independence here in New Hampshire, as you know.
Yeah,
he
I
did
don't
vote
think
for you
I don't
in
think him
2020.
talking about
Scott, what's
that
your
is going to
question
do
for
him
the
any
president?
favors.
No,
Hi, President Trump. Welcome back to New Hampshire.
I mean, we're the only ones watching this.
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Will I suspend? Excuse me, what?
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Yeah, unless I see election fraud. If I see election fraud,
they're going to bait him so hard with this. It's what's going to hurt him the most.
Did he write that question? Because he had to read it again.
They
I hope to
write them
do that.
and then moderators.
I hope we're going to have very honest elections.
So I assume some people got assigned.
We should have voter ID. We should have one-day elections. We should have paper ballots.
He's right about that. We should have one-day voting, IDs, paper ballots.
Absolutely. It's going to be very straight up because if it's going to be straight up, we're going to win the election.
So you will suspend talk to his question about the 2020 election on the campaign trail?
I guess we're going to just win. We're at a point now. We're getting so close. Let's just win it again and straighten out our country.
One other question on this.
That was just
He's so bad.
Yeah. They always want to force him into saying yes or no.
In the past, you once suggested terminating the Constitution. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well-maintained and well-looked-at elections. And we didn't have that. I cherish our Constitution, but we have to live up to the Constitution. We weren't living up to the Constitution.
I was just saying there's no evidence of that election fraud. You did once tweet.
They're baiting him, and he's falling right for it.
I'm glad you say that.
But he can't not respond.
That was a horrible election.
He can say that's so old. Are you seriously talking about that? You sound silly.
Let's talk about important topics.
That's right. Yeah. He could deflect too.
They know.
A real question.
They know this hurts him in the polls with moderates.
We have honest elections in our country. We have open borders.
There we go.
Yeah. He needs to pivot to a question.
To the borders.
Yeah, that the supporters will want.
I mean, I liked his Afghanistan pivot before,
we have open borders. Look at what's happening on our southern border. Millions and millions of people are coming in. They're being released from prisons. They're being released from mental institutions. And we have millions of people pouring into our country. And now they're getting rid of Title 42, which I put on, which kept people out that were sick and
Mr. President, we have a lot of questions about immigration to get to tonight. Obviously, that's a big topic.
She's going to go back to fraud.
What's expected to happen tomorrow. But I want to talk about the influence you have over your voters. It's very clear that you are very influential over them. You have a lot of impact. I've been to many of your rallies and seen it up close, which raised a lot of questions about the influence that we saw that you had on them on January 6th.
January 6th.
This is the whole plan for the town hall.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets about your actions on January 6th?
Well, you know, January 6th was, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and you don't see the pictures very often. A lot of the people here probably were there. January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day. And what I was asked to do, I wasn't involved in it very much. I was asked to come in. Would I make a speech? I made a speech. I said, walk peacefully and patriotically, you know, many different things. In fact, I brought a list of things. I don't want to bore the audience, but we can go sentence after sentence after sentence of things I said and things I put out.
They're playing Trump like a fiddle.
One of the big problems was that Nancy Pelosi, Crazy Nancy as I affectionately call her, Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington were in charge, as you know, of security.
I'm not sure what he's supposed to do then, because they're going to just keep hitting him on it.
And he can keep
I
pivoting.
offered them National Guard.
And say,
I said, we'll give you soldiers, we'll give you National Guard,
and
we'll
I think
give
this
you
is a good
whatever you
point.
want.
I mean,
And they turned me down.
if they thought
And in
it
fact,
was
she
dangerous
turned me down.
secretary
She turned,
had
excuse
no
me, she turned me
security.
down
And
in
that's
writing. They
up to
turned
the
me
mayor.
down.
But your acting defense secretary, Chris Miller, at the time, he says
knocking
you
him off
never
point.
gave a formal
Trump needs to talk about the economy, immigration.
But when it came to
Immigration right now.